Hi. All right. This round, what I wanted to do was just show you a couple of simple, easy patterns, ultra easy patterns. They only use one material each. Okay. One I've done before. It's called, I call it the saddle hackle. One feather fly, and you basically just use the saddle hackle. You can use a cream color one like I have. You can use white. You can use basically any color you want, but you just need one saddle hackle, okay? And this one I like tying on a larger size hook, typically a size 8 streamer, like so, okay? And I like using it mainly for bass and bluegill during the warmer months. And what's nice about this is it stays fairly high in the upper part of the water column. It doesn't sink readily. And what's nice about that is, especially if you're fishing a particular location that's really clobbered with a lot of that greenery that grows in the ponds and whatnot, this fly seems to work really well. Okay, and the other one is just going to be using some hare's ear dubbing right here. Same stuff you use for a gold rib hare's ear nymph, but you're just going to use the dubbing. You're going to use a very small size 16 caddis hook. Okay, very small. Okay, and we'll be using a dubbing loop there. I am going to use another piece of material. It's mainly just the glue. Okay, but you don't have to use the particular glue I'm using, this UV glue. But so one's going to be this one, and one's going to be that one. Okay, this one is going to be the one fly feather deal, and the other one is going to be that caddis hook, more of a dubbing, and it's one of the first flies I learned how to tie. Bear with me here. I just lost my hook. Right there it is. Okay, right here. So let's go with the easy one. Okay, the streamer. This is the one fly feather. I think I just did some YouTube Shorts videos and just showing this particular one in action. Okay, and I'm using a peak fly tying vise like so. It's got a nice hefty base and everything, so that works out good. Howdy. How's everybody doing? Looks like we got some folks joining. All right, let me see if I can adjust this so you can get a better view of what I'm trying to tie. Okay, let's go back here. All right. All right, and like I was saying, I had a earlier video showing this one in action. And again, what I really like about this one is the ability to fish this one on the upper part of the water column, stays just a few inches below, and I get a lot of strikes with this. Bass like it, bluegill like it. I haven't tried it with trout though. I may have to do it this season. Okay, so we'll start out with a size 8 streamer hook. I'm just going to use this olive Dacron tying thread, and we'll start off with just a simple thread base. Okay, we'll just build it up and everything. In fact, I think I got way too much line out. Let me go ahead and let me go ahead and take that in. I got a bunch too much. All right, so we'll go ahead and bring that in a little bit. Okay, and this is that right bobbin dealy. I like it because it's got some good tension thing here. I can adjust it here with a screw, and it holds really nicely. Okay, gives you a lot of control with the fly tying when you're fly tying, but I do just use your traditional one also that's got a spring steel that's used mainly tension on the bobbin. All right, so let's go ahead and start over. We'll start out with just a simple thread base, and like I was saying, this has been a really good one for bass and bluegill, typically bass more than bluegill. But when I do get a bluegill, especially on this size 8 streamer hook, I tend to get a nice size bluegill. All right. Okay. And so I laid a thread base And the way I set the hook in the vise is I have the point basically even with the vise jaw, so that I can run my finger here and not worry about it poking. But at the same time, I know it, as long as I'm in relation to the vise jaw up here, that's where the hook bend or the hook point is perpendicular to the to that point. And that's just a good reference point that I like keeping. Another tip that I learned from an old timer was when you are cutting your thread or you're cutting your material, let your bobbin hang low and cut above. And typically you won't cut your thread. All right. Howdy, what's up, everybody? Okay, so I just built that thread base. So here comes the other piece that we'll be using. I call it the one fly feather, or one feather fly. It uses one fly and it works for bass. And if you're just starting out fly tying, this is probably one of your easier patterns you want to use. Okay, so all I'm going to do is just get some saddle hackle. Okay, we'll pop off a dilly here, and then we'll clean it up a little bit. You want to get rid of this portion here. Okay, but you do want a bunch of these long feathery deals. Okay, we'll strip it off a little bit, and then I'll snip it. Okay, just like that. And then you want to lay it on the shank, concave side down, with the shaft right here butted up against where I stopped. In this case, I stopped it, let's see, right here, right there, even with the jaws. Okay. And I like going at an angle, like a 45-degree angle, doing a couple of loose wraps to capture the feather. And then once I have it, then I'll start locking it down, and I'll slowly move the fly further back to me. Okay, so now it's in line with the shank. Okay, and it should look like that. Okay. So we'll just go ahead and bring it over here. We'll do a couple of half hitches. Actually, just need one. Do a half hitch to just secure it so that I can bring around this little thread deal and hang my bobbin right over here. Okay, and then at this point, we're almost done. I'll grab my hackle pliers, grab the tip here, and at this point, we're just going to palmer wrap. We're going to go from front to back, like so, and we're going to keep it tight. Okay, just kind of overlapping over and just moving forward, just like that. And you see how big that feathery, hackly stuff is going. Okay, and then right when I get to the tip, or right behind the eye, I'm gonna just start building up, sort of like a head or something. Just kind of build up the material there, and then I'll stop. Okay, and then at this point, I'll grab the thread again, and I'll go 2 wraps behind, 2 wraps in front, 2 wraps behind again. And then at that point, I'm ready to cut off the excess. Okay, and then you want to build a head. Okay, so all you do is just kind of pull back on the thread, and then just start building a head right here. Okay, sort of give it like a little nose, like a little minnow or something, and that's it right there. That is your one feather fly. I'm going to use a whip finish tool here to secure it. Okay, and I won't even use any UV glue or head cement. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's good enough right there. That'll hold them. And if you don't have one of these whip finish tools, you can just use your 2 fingers like so, and do it the old school way. All right, it's basically you're making a little triangle, and you're just guiding it on like so, and just kind of flipping around it like that. And that is your old school way of doing a whip finish. Okay. All right, so we'll just cut that, and let me go show you the end result right there. Okay, when it's wet, it'll sweep back like so. make a nice looking, minnowy looking thing. At the same time, I like to twitch it. I'll give it a little twitch, 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 and it'll just kind of pulse forward like this. And I think of that last YouTube shorts I showed. I'm showing you where I'm doing that twitch, and it's kind of just boom, 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 working. All right. So that is the first pattern. Material. Okay, if you count the thread and you count the hook, then it's more than one material. But bottom line, every fly has the tying thread and has the hook. So in essence, this is one piece of material, the one feather fly. All right. Well, you guys give it a try. Maybe in the comments, ping me, let me know how this one works out for you. And hey, I think I've got a community post set up on the channel, so you can always just, take a picture, post it on there, and just say, hey, it worked. I certainly would love to hear how it worked for you in your particular location. Okay. I am here in the city of Allen in Texas, North Texas, just north of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. And fishing the warm water season, this baby has been a bass getter for yours truly. All right. And especially when I've got all that greenery growing, and if you're fishing, let's say, a streamer, a woolly bugger or something, and it just kind of sinks down to the bottom, you're getting all clobbered and everything. This one fishes the upper part of the water column. You're about 1 to 2 inches under, and you're just pulsing it through. You're keeping your fly moving, and yeah, you'll get a bite or two on this baby. All right. Looks like there's some folks joining. Mysterious Realms. Howdy, howdy. How's it going? Brandon Ziegler. Glad you joined. Jewel Wages. Appreciate you guys joining. Blind Cat. Awesome, man. Definitely like the support that you give the channel. And let me know how this one works for you. So that's the first fly. One material. Easy, ultra easy fly. Okay. Next one is going to be very tiny one. And this one I learned from, guess what? A VHS video that I picked up at our local library. Now they don't even have the video stuff anymore, the VHS stuff. In fact, I remember seeing it on sale one time when they were getting rid of it, and I meant to buy it, but I don't have a VHS player anymore. So, luckily my memory's still sharp, so I can stay abreast as to how I tie this thing. It's very simple. All right. Main thing here, though, to keep in mind is I'm going to use a dubbing tool. We're going to use some dubbing right here. This same dubbing that I use for gold rib hare's ear nymph. And what I use this one for has been mainly for bluegill, sunfish, and guess what? Trout. Okay. All right. All right. Let's see. First thing we need to do is, this is going to be kind of tight because it's pretty small. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of describe what you have here. Okay, let's see. That's pretty tight there, but I want to go ahead and give it a little just tighten it just a little bit more. Size 16 caddis hook. Okay, now it's secured in there nicely. We'll stick with the olive tying thread. See, I just got gifted a fly tie set. Awesome. My recommendation when it comes to learning the fly tie is tie the fly that you fish the most. So a lot of folks will start out with, let's say, a woolly bugger or a similar type streamer fly. Learn to tie that one, okay? For two reasons. One, you only have to buy the material for that one fly. Two, you're going to fish it anyways. It's your favorite fly. So you might as well make your own and save a few dollars or so. And then on top of that, I think it makes you a more, it makes you a better fly caster or a fly fisherman, because you're not as hesitant to fish some of those tight spots, maybe clobbered spots where you may lose, a fly that costs you $3 to $5 to $6 or more. Instead, you'll be tying a fly that you tied that maybe cost you a few cents, all right? And you are willing to, mix it up and get that fly right where those fish are lurking. Because it's pretty tough to catch a fish when they're all lurking underneath something or in some really clobbered areas. So if you're really tentative about, I don't want to lose my fly, but I do want to catch a fish, learn to fly tie the pattern that you use the most. In this case, maybe a woolly bugger. That's a very simple pattern. And actually is a good pattern to learn, mainly because it teaches you to tie in that tail section, the marabou, and then on top of that, tying in those other material, the wire, the hackle, and then it teaches you the palmer wrapping technique, and then also wrapping it as well, the wire to hold that hackle in place. So it's like you're learning 3-4 different key basic fly tying skills with that one fly. All right, and believe me, after a while, sure enough, you're going to get pretty proficient with that one fly that you learn the tie, which is one that you fish with, which is probably the one that you're going to be catching a lot of fish. So, hey, another motivation to keep fly tying. All right. So back to this one. It's a size 16 caddis hook. Okay. And we'll start out again building that thread base. Okay. I'm going to start right behind the head, go all the way back and forward. Okay. And this one, I want to take it past the bend, because what's happening is I want the shank, the hook shank, to kind of mimic maybe a midge, maybe something that's hatching or whatnot. And so we're just kind of build that up on there. Okay. All right. Now we'll bring it up forward. Okay. I'm going to stop right behind the hook eye, and now I'm going to pull down, and I'm going to get more line extended. And now I'm going to use my dubbing tool. All right. And there's all kinds of ways you can use one of these dubbing tools. There's other dubbing tools you can use. This one in particular is you'll put your line on one side, you put the line on the other, and it's going to keep a separation between two pieces of thread where you secure the other end as a loop, aka dubbing loop. Okay. So here's the line. I'll put the one thread on there. I'm going to come around, and now I have basically one piece of the, I hope it slipped. It's do-over. All right, there we go. All right, there we go. So I have one piece of thread on one of these little dubbing ears, and then the other one on the other ear, just for want of a more descriptive means to tell you what I'm doing, okay? The other thing is I'm going to pull back now, and I'm going to take the other end, and now I'm going to secure it back behind that eye, okay? And this particular pattern is meant to be dubbed from front to back. There's other ones where you'll be tying from back to front, okay? Okay, let's go ahead and bring it in here a little bit. All right, so at this point, this is going to be the tough part, is a lot of times with these little caddis hooks, you got to be careful because you may slip your half hitch and it'll come off the end, and next thing you know, you just lost tight, or you lost your tying thread. So be careful there. I'll just secure it with a half hitch and hold. All right, and now I have this dubbing loop with that opening. Okay, and you can do this using some dubbing wax and kind of twist it on there. But I find this dubbing loop is much easier. And in this case, you just need a little pinch, a little dabble do ya, all right? And you'll put it through the dubbing loop, okay? We'll kind of move it up and down, separate a little bit, okay? Let me go ahead and grab another pinch, because this is a fairly small fly. It's a size 16, okay? Yeah, you don't really want too much dubbing, because that may overpower it, okay? All right, you can get it right on there. Okay, so once I have the dubbing in there and I kind of have it separated, I'll start twisting, okay? We'll just twist and twist and twist, okay? All right, and this is a rotary vise, but one of my other vices that I was first learning, it wasn't a rotary vise. I just kind of spun it around, but this is such a simple fly, shouldn't be tough at all with or without a rotary vise. So at this point, I'm going to put the dubbing loop so that the two ears are now, both threads are on the one ear, and I've got all this dubbing here, and it's secured pretty tightly on there. It's not going to come off, okay? And then here, I'm just going to start wrapping the thread, and I got a lot of, I probably should have started a little bit closer, but we'll go and get it in there, okay? All right, so I'm just going to start building the body going from back or from front, all right? And now I'm going to go back. So I'm going to go from front to back, and then I'm going to go back to front, okay? And as I go to back to front, I'm going to start kind of building it so it's thicker going to the front, okay? Just like that. Just like that, okay? So it's going to be kind of like a really, really thick front section. Okay, and now I'm going to stop short of the eye and hold, okay? And now I'm going to take my tying thread and secure that dubbing loop, okay? So 1, 2 in behind, 1, 2 in front, and then 1, 2 behind, and then oops, and then at this point I will cut it off, okay? So we'll go ahead and cut, and again, like I was saying, just drop your thread down below and kind of snip above, and you won't accidentally knock on wood. Yours truly has done that and cut my tying thread by accident, okay? So at this point, oops, at this point, you're gonna kind of brush everything back a little, and let me go ahead and take up some of this slack, and you're just gonna build a head, okay? Just a slight head, tapered, going from back to forward, and then you'll hold in place right there, okay? And then a couple of whip finishes, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? In fact, I'm just going to hold it that. I think that's good enough right now, okay? So here is the last piece. It's basically done, but at this point, you can add some head cement, and you actually put a little bit right on top to build a wing, or some, you know, sort of like a flashback pheasant tail, you know, how they have that little kind of dealie on top. All right. I've done it before where I hadn't done that, as well as I've used head cement, as well as I use this UV glue. So we'll use this UV glue, and we'll just kind of dab it right on top, okay? Just a little bit, okay? And we're just going to build a little shell on the back, okay? All right, and then let me just grab this dubbing pin. We're going to sweep it back a little, like so, okay? Okay, I need a little bit more. So just kind of sweep it back. What I'm trying to do is just kind of give it a little shell, basically. And it works really good with all kinds of glues. I kind of like this UV glue stuff because, well, it's quick to dry. And then on top of that, I think it has a UV property to it that the fish like, you know. Okay, so let's go ahead and zap it. I think this is like 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. All right, there it is. All right, so at this point, you can grab some Velcro and kind of make it bushier. It's pretty bushy right now. But that's it right there. Let's see if I can, right there, okay? Size 16, and you can trim it a little bit to kind of give it some shape. I don't. The fish still eat it. They still eat this thing, okay? And I've caught a lot of bluegill, a lot of sunfish. I've caught trout with this. I have caught some little fingerling bass as well. Not big bass, just those little fingerling, you know, during the spring and whatnot when they're moving about. Other times you can actually make it even bushier and take some Velcro and scrape it back, and then put that cement on there. Just kind of give it a longer like shell back, and yeah, that's it. All right, so if you're learning to tie, these are two simple, ultra easy patterns. The one feather fly made with some saddle hackle, color of your choice. I like using this cream one. Why? Because match the hatch. The little minnows that are moving about in the pond that I fish kind of have this color. So, hey, you don't have to teach me twice. I'm gonna match the hatch. All right. And then this baby right here, been a great one. Also, you can also use this as a trailing fly. You can put a bead head on here, but I tend to, if I'm going to use it as a trailing fly in a tandem rig, I'll take usually a woolly bugger or some heavier fly, and then I'll do one of these hang loose symbols and give it about that distance from the lead fly, and I'll just use an improved clinch knot, attaching it to the hook bend on the lead fly, and then I'll have this one trailing. And because this one's not weighted, they'll tend to do one of these numbers right here, where this one's sinking and this one's kind of trailing, and this one attracts them, and then this one is what they eat. All right. Okay, I hope it was helpful. Again, let me know how this works for you. Give it a try. That feature out of YouTube allows you to have the community post, so it's open for you to put some pictures in there. I think I have to moderate it still, so be careful. Let's be safe there. Community guidelines apply. But other than that, yeah, give these patterns a try, and well, let me know if you caught anything. All right. So until next time, good luck and good fishing. Thanks for joining.